memorable State of the Union. It's I know it's not I don't think it was a State of the Union. I believe it was a joint session speech. But either way, it's the split screen with OJ.
Oh my God!
We had an OJ trial in the State of the Union.
See, Chuck is so much older than me.
You know what? Hey, believe it or not, you two talked a lot, and we are out of time.
Oh wow!
So,
He got the important
Chris
picture. That
Saluzzo
OJ one is
and
fascinating.
Chuck Todd, they've been on this network for 25 years. It's good to see you,
We'll see if we can
gentlemen.
get to 26.
Thank you. YouTube, watch with Chris Saluzzo and Chuck Todd. That's how you can find that. So good luck tonight. We look forward to hearing the results.
Thanks, Peter.
Greta Bronner, what do you got for us?
All right,
It's almost 8 o'clock.
You're not giving 120. You giving 70. You giving 60. You giving 50. And you want what these people who've given sweat, who's given blood, who's given tears, you want what they paid for, and it ain't free.
VENMO made it.
You're not giving 120. You giving 70. You giving 60. You giving 50. And you want what these people who've given sweat, who's given blood, who's given tears, you want what they paid for, and it ain't free.
VENMO made it.
not giving 120. You giving 70. You giving 60. You giving 50. And you want what these people who've given sweat, who's given blood, who's given tears, you want what they paid for, and it ain't free.
VENMO made it.
Well is Marissa Schultz, who is a national politics reporter for the New York Post. Marissa, your headline.
Right now, it's a lot of excitement whether Trump can kick off the midterms for the Republican Party. The margins are so slim, as Taylor alluded to. Democrats just need to pick up as few as 3 seats to win back the House, 4 seats in the Senate, and it will just take a few districts to flip, and then in the Senate, just a few seats. And Democrats are feeling really optimistic. They think that they can definitely take back the House. They're even feeling a little bullish about the Senate, which traditionally would be a reach for them. But they look at President Trump's approval ratings. They look at how voters have responded to him on things that traditionally have been good for him, such as immigration, and they see a real big opening. So Democrats tonight are hoping that they come out looking better because Trump is undisciplined and he is doing things that won't set up the Republicans for success. But on the flip side of that, Republicans, especially the White House, they feel that they've done so much on the economy. They feel like he's had this whirlwind first term. He's done things on things that are even not that exciting about deregulation that they believe will make, say, cars cheaper. They've done things on healthcare in terms of Trump RX. They've set up these things called these Trump accounts to help young children save for their future with $1,000 at the time of their birth. So they feel like they have a really good record to tout, and they just need to do a better job of selling it. And then the poll numbers will come around and the midterms will be better.
Alex Gantitano, we talked to a speechwriter a little bit earlier, Don Baer of the Clinton speech team. Mm-hmm. What do you expect in tonight's speech?
Yeah, it was interesting. Something we discussed with Don was how there's sometimes conflicting interests within the White House of what should we address and how should we address it. And we have seen this White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles is a political operative who knows how to sell the president's agenda. She was obviously extremely successful in his last campaign. Somebody like that has this political vision of how do we message and so Republicans can take the win tonight. And then there's others like a Stephen Miller is so focused on immigration. We'll be hearing about immigration, but in what lens? Do they tone down some of the rhetoric after what we saw in some states and ICE raids? We have some other policy advisors of the president that will want him to be angry about what happened to his tariff agenda in the Supreme Court. How much does he take that into consideration? And then on the economy, again, we know that there's some more populist mindsets within this White House who want him to nail down issues like not having corporate interests buy up housing, and how do you prevent that? And then some more traditional economic minds who want him to look at some approaches that Congress could take on that's more of a conservative mindset. And so I think it will be interesting to see which of those interests the president ends up talking about tonight.
We're going to take your calls in just a minute, but as always, Greta Bronner is with us. Hey, Greta, what do you got?
Peter, we've been talking about the president's speech tonight, the length of it. We're expecting 2 hours from the president tonight. And a reminder to our viewers that after the president finishes his remarks, there will be a Democratic response. Tonight, that will be delivered by Virginia's first female governor, Abigail Spanberger, who won in 2025, former CIA operations officer and former member of Congress. She will be delivering the Democratic rebuttal tonight from the old Capitol in colonial Williamsburg. That is the setting for tonight's remarks from Abigail Spanberger. She won the 2025 gubernatorial election, beating the then Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears 57.6% to 42.2%. She won on the issue of affordability. And according to WWBT, she is going to focus on affordability and criticism of President Trump as expected tonight. Those will be her central themes. She says she plans to address the cost of housing, health care, energy, and groceries, all the issues that she campaigned on. So look for her entire remarks on the C-SPAN networks. Finally, I'll just end with some color inside the chamber. We're waiting for the House lights to come on in that chamber. That is where all the members, their guests, the president, the cabinet, the Supreme Court justices all gather on the House side of the Capitol. Ben Jacobs, who's an independent journalist, saying that in the House chamber right now, there is a seat near the front with a cardboard sign on it with Al Green written in all caps. So Al Green, the congressman from Texas, who stood up and shook his cane at the president last year, is trying to reserve a front row seat for tonight. Peter?
And of course, as we discussed, there are no reservations. You cannot hold a seat. But if it's on the Democratic side, maybe the Democrats are respecting that and holding that for Al Green. Well, we've been fortunate to have two guests with us all night, Alex Gangitano of Politico, Marissa Schultz of the New York Post. Now, it's going to get very busy in the next 45 minutes. We've got the president leaving the White House. We've got the Senate gathering and then walking over to the House. We have the House lights coming up. And then we have all the milling about, and then, of course, the arrival of the president, et cetera. So it's going to get a little chaotic here in the next